So many of us traveled abroad with the intention of making our lives better, and that is actually the case. But the other side that many people do not expect, that always comes as a shock, is the loneliness, the culture shock, adapting to the new environment, making new friends. And some of these things, even though if you have not experienced it, you will not know how heavy that can be in your overall lifestyle. But then when you experience it, you know that it is something that you should be aware of and potentially get ready in your mind before you move abroad, because it will save you a lot.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I really want to share something that is really very important and has been bothering me for a while. I met one of my colleagues from another country like Africa that is particularly in this she's in this US with her family, and she was sharing with me what she was going through. But thank God that has passed. But I feel like this is something that many of us are experiencing now that we are abroad, and it's something that I was also like I've experienced. I can relate totally to her story, and I feel like we are going to learn something from it, especially if you're planning to move abroad or if you're already abroad. She moved to the US with her family, right? So and then she started having problem in her job, and ultimately she lost that job. But from everything that we talked about, it appears that she had two jobs and she was also schooling, and that is what many of us nurses do. Like immediately we get here, if you don't have your bachelor's, usually people just enroll and start studying, or master's degree. And then she had family, okay, she had kids, so she would go to work and maybe she appeared tired and everything, and there were reports and everything, and she eventually lost that job. So it's not about losing that job, but the beautiful thing about America is that there are if you have the skill, if you have the experience, you are most likely going to get a job. So at the time I was speaking to her, with her, she already got a job, right? So, and then she told me that when she lost that job, she felt very bad. She was depressed, she didn't know what to do. A new country, just a year old in a country. And then her family members that she was sending money to back home and everything, once you move abroad, your family members are like celebrating because they know maybe you'll start catering for some needs, which is expected, right? African culture. So what happened is that when she was going through that problem, I don't know if you can imagine what it's like in another country, losing your job and feeling like what's going to happen to you now as a nurse with license and everything. That when you are getting another job, they're asking you, have you lost your job before? Why did you lose that job and everything, right? So you can imagine what she was going through. So she told me about her family members. They were calling her at the time, and because of how confused, stressed and everything that she was sharing with them, family members, that you can talk to when you are down, normally when you are back home in Nigeria, Ghana, or whatever. And then they will understand you and call you to find out what's going on, how you're getting on, ask you about your family. So she opened up to them, say, see, what's going on in this America. I lost my job, this one, that one. And at the end of the day, they said, okay, it's well. And the next day, she told me that the next day, this particular relative called again and asked for money. She told me that she was so devastated. That it means that if she's even going through anything, nobody cares. She probably must have lost that job because of the hard work, the time she's putting in trying to get another job, studying. She has kids, and then she studies and she has this full-time job again, and then all the struggle trying to make so much money so that she will impress the family members back home. Anybody that asks for money, she will give them. She doesn't have time of her own. Even her family members, her kids, see her like once in a while. They don't have family time. I don't know, it's very hard. If you are in the UK or in the US or anywhere outside your home country, you probably relate. But I feel like people back home should also know should also have a glimpse of what it can actually look like. So she told me how bad she felt, and she had to like talk to herself that this is the time to actually look at her life again and see what is actually the priority. These people that she's sending all this money back home, they are probably living the best of life, telling people that they have people abroad, and she doesn't even have time for her kids. She doesn't even have time for her own self. When she talked about it, I just summoned up courage and encouraged her, told her, things that will help her about the new job and the advantage she has as someone that has experience and what has also helped me, because even though I'm new in America, I've already lived in the UK, so I know a little bit about what it is like, you understand. So I just encouraged her and gave her some tips. So that's it. But I also relate to this because of what I also passed through. A relative sending me messages, even telling me that I should have, I lost my dad when I was in the UK, right? So this person even brought my dad into the picture. That was like a year after I moved to the UK. Something that is still very, very traumatizing to me. Even mentioning it, that I would have immediately I moved to the UK, I would have made sure that my father is in a hospital in the UK. But that's by the way. I know how I felt that day. I cried. But because of the experience I already had in the UK, I already told myself that I know my family is number one, and what I can do right now because of the kids, I can reduce how I work, and then maybe work on my career, so that by the time the kids are growing up and maybe I'm getting a better job, because working multiple jobs means maybe I will not have to study, and then I will not have time for the kids. But if I have time for the kids, maybe I can combine it with studying, and then maybe changing jobs and all of that. So you understand what I mean. So this is really very important, because sometimes people back home don't really know the picture. People that we don't really know what they are doing abroad, they will go home like buy cars and show people that if you're abroad you can have all the money in the world, and not really giving people the real thing. So guys, I feel very, very emotional right now because I know what it's like. Remember, recently somebody told me, what do you mean by expensive school fees? Is it 8,000 that is expensive? Is it $9,000 that is expensive? What do you mean by expensive?
There's a safety training we normally get at nurses. I got that in the UK and here in the US as well. So the training is about safety. And something happens suddenly in a workplace, let's say shooting, fire, all of that. So it says that you have to make sure you keep yourself safe as well. Because if you're not safe, you are not able to help other people. You have to look out for yourself first, and then your immediate family or the rest of the people around you, and then before you start thinking about people outside. So recently I had that training again. I was like, wow, this is really so true. So you have to really look after yourself first before you think about what is going on outside, because sometimes they don't understand people that are reaching out to you to for help and everything from back home, and you also know that you need to help. They are looking out for themselves, and then if you're not looking after yourself to look out for them that are also putting themselves first, then you are not really doing the right thing, because you need to be healthy, happy, and even alive to be able to help. So if you're listening to this, let it I just want to encourage myself and encourage you that first of all, you need to make sure even that's your job, you're doing your best. You are, because if you're a nurse, for instance, you have other people's lives in your hands. So you need to make sure that you are not overworking yourself to the extent that it's affecting your job. Because even people back home, they still need you to be alive for you to be able to help maximally. So don't allow the pressure from back home to make you unhappy, to make you not to have time for your kids, to make you not to have a healthy life and a happy life too. We recently lost someone that studied in my school. This person even graduated after I have left school, and this report was that he was, the last thing he said, he told friends was that he was having headache. Just like that, he was found by police. I mean, they had to force the door open to see him. When I heard that story, I couldn't even imagine it. Like someone leaving his country just to go and, just got to go and die like that. Nobody can explain exactly what happened. is it possible that he even shared with his family and they were like, oh, well, you are in the UK, or you can always have access to all the best of the doctors? So if you're not abroad and you have someone abroad and you're watching this video, just know that sometimes what they need from you is that encouragement. They need you to ask after them. They need you to ask after their kids. Well, so guys, thank you for listening and watching. I really wish you the very best. If you're abroad and you're passing through a lot of pressure, just know that all is well. Remember to look after yourself, keep yourself healthy and strong, and God bless you.